Hi, my friends. Yes, the microphone is okay. Please let me know if everything is okay, the sound, the internet connection, if we can start. How was your weekend? So, today we're going to make Paglia Italiana, which is very popular here in Brazil. It's actually brigadeiro, which is another sweet very popular here in Brazil. But after we get to the stage, the brigadeiro stage, we add some cookies, some biscuits, anything you would like. The classic paglia italiana, it's already on my feed. I made a few months ago, so if you would like to see the preparation and make the classic paglia italiana, is just go to my profile. But do not go right now, okay? Stay with me because today we are going to make my version of Christmas paglia italiana. Not only the recipe, I would like to share with you a few tips to work better in this Christmas. For me, it was always the best time of the year to work with because there's a lot of customers, a lot of people during Christmas time. So it's really nice to get more clients, to earn an extra money, to save money. It's really interesting. So I'm going to be talking about Christmas in the next few days because it has always been the best time of the year for me. For the Christmas paglia italiana, we are going to need, I don't have the recipe here, have it in my mind, Pedro is going to write as well, is 400 grams of sweet condensed milk, 1 can, which is that one here, actually 395 grams of sweet condensed milk. I'm going to put 400 because if in your country you find a different size package, just make sure to use 400 grams. Okay, so we are going to 400 grams of sweet condensed milk, 15 grams of glucose. Glucose will avoid crystallization. This is regular glucose, and once we stir it in the heat, stir it vigorously, it might end up crystallized. So it's really important to add glucose to avoid crystallization. Sometimes it's not like a syrup that it crystallizes right in front of you, right in time. No. Once we make brigadeiro and it crystallizes, it's after the first day, for example, it starts to crystallize. It's not nice. So 15 grams. We are going to add between 10 and 50 grams of butter. You can use salted or unsalted. It's fine, both will work. We are going to use 100 grams of this biscuit here. You can use any biscuit with milk, with malted milk flavor. Okay, you can use any brand, any kind. This is the one that I'm using, which is a very popular brand here in Brazil. I really like those, to eat them with coffee. It's tasty. So we are going to use that. Make sure to use 100 of biscuit. We are going to break it this size in 4, like this, not smaller than that, because after putting it together with the sweet condensed milk, it might break a little bit more, so this size is perfect. We are going to use as well 110 grams, right, Pedro? 110 grams of walnut, and dried apricot. For me, this is how Christmas tastes like. I really love the taste, and for me, it's really related to Christmas. So we are going to use both You can put half-half, 55 grams of walnut, 55 grams of apricot, or you can use only one of them, or you can substitute for cranberries, pistachio, cashew nut, anything that you would like to substitute of dry ingredients, of course. If you put liquid, it's not going to work in the same way. So for the apricots, we are going to chop in big stripes. I don't know how to call it, but like this, not very small, because once we cut a little bit like that, so I don't want it very small because I want a piece after cooking, so it's really important. So I'm going to chop all of them at once, like this. And I'm going to do the same with walnut. Let me put this here. Have you guys ever tried before? Please let me know. The classic recipe, it's on my YouTube feed. Oh, sorry, on my Instagram. YouTube as well, right? Yes. And also you can, it's only a small version. So I suggest you to chop. You don't want to feel those pieces after the Paglia Italiana is ready, so it's really important. I'm going to put those ones here, and I'm going to put the red ones here in this bowl. We are going to mix together the walnuts and the apricots. I'm suggesting this kind of cookies, of biscuits, but you can use any plain flavor. I suggest you to avoid those strong flavors like strawberries, biscuits, they are all chopped. I am going to break those cookies in 4, not more than that. It's okay if some of them breaking more, but you don't need to worry about that. Guys, this Paglia Italiana tastes so good. Do not start before you end up with this part. It's here. So this is set. I have a baking tray. I'm going to place a plastic sheet here. Ta-da! This plastic sheet is going to avoid the Paglia Italiana to stick into the pan. I've been using a lot of options like cling film, like foil, like a baking paper. The best option is that one. This is going to release from the Paglia Italiana very, very easily. So if I was making 2 recipes, I could use this of pan. But since I'm going to use only 1 recipe here, I'm going to place a ring to make sure I have exactly the size that I want. It's going to be very, very short. And I really want this height here. Okay, you can make even higher. It's just make sure to use a smaller ring. But for me, this is good. So, Since everything is set, we are going to start. In a pan, in a medium pan, we are going to put the sweet condensed milk. Have you guys ever eaten a brigadeiro? Make sure to scrape all of it. Ui. So, sweet condensed milk, butter, and glucose. This is a very sticky ingredient, so you can use 2 spoons to remove from the package, but I really prefer to use my hands. So I'm going to wet my hands a little bit and I'm going to use it to remove. We are going to use around 15 grams, but I know how it looks like this amount, so I'm going to use without scaling it. Like I said, use wet hands for that. Remove the amount you want and just put into the pan. It's really important to use wet hands because the humidity will avoid the glucose to stick in your hand. It's impossible to end up without sticking, but it will make it to be less. So it's going to help you to wash your hands after. And now we are going to take this to the heat. This sweet condensed milk will reduce. It will shrink a lot. I'm going to show you exactly the consistency of the brigadeiro stage, which is the same for Paglia Italiana stage. And after we get to this stage, we are going to add the biscuits and the dry fruits, apricot and walnut. Okay, so straight to the heat. Let's go. For that part, I really suggest you to use this kind of spatula. Scrape the bottom. So after you start stirring it, it's really important that you don't stop stirring because this is going to stick onto the sides. This is going to stick into the bottom of the pan, and you need to keep in mind to scrape all the time. I'm going to start by high heat, but after I start to hear the sound of it is sticking into the bottom, or after I hear it boiling, I'm going to reduce the heat for low, okay? I don't want that start to, how can I say that in English? Once it starts to stick into the bottom and it starts to create a layer of very dry and overcooked sweet condensed milk. So make sure to stir it, always remembering to scrape. Can you hear the sound? So I just reduced the heat. This is actually how we make brigadeiro here in Brazil, and the classic brigadeiro takes chocolate, but to be honest with you, this is my favorite brigadeiro because this is the recipe that my mom used to make when I was a kid, and I always preferred things without chocolate, so this is actually my favorite. Just to make sure that you guys won't have any doubts about that, brigadeiro is when you reduce in a pan sweet condensed milk, and with butter you can add chocolate or any ingredient that you want, or you can make plain brigadeiro, which is that one here, the white one. But Paglia Italiana is a kind of brigadeiro that we put any kind of biscuit or any other ingredient once you get to the brigadeiro stage, okay? So we are making Paglia Italiana, but if we don't add anything, we are going to end up. So something nice to do is to move the pan, because sometimes once we stir it like that, we have a blind spot that we never stir there once we are stirring the whole amount. So almost. Make sure to scrape everything and just a little bit more. Can you see how it shrinked? It's not only the water that is going to evaporate, but also the sugar. The sugar that it's already in the sweet condensed milk will start to melt and caramelize a little bit. So this is the perfect stage. We have it. I'm going to leave the spatula to show you. Like this. Can you see that it falls and breaks? And this is the perfect consistency. I'm going to remove from the heat and I'm going to show you. It's really important that once you remove from the heat, you scrape all the sides, you scrape the bottom, and you stir it a little bit more to make sure everything is inside, is together actually. And now we are going to add the walnut and apricot and also the biscuits. Now it's just involve everything. Please make sure not to overmix it, not to overstir it, because if you do, you are going to break the cookies too much, and it's not nice to break the cookies. It's okay to break. It's impossible to avoid that, but I don't want to smash all of them a lot. I don't want them to become a powder, for example. So everything is involved. I'm going to put straight to the ring. Here. Here. Can you guys imagine the smell of this kitchen right now? So everything is in the ring. I scraped all of the pans, so I'm going to use an offset spatula to spread it into the ring to make sure I will get an even level. One more time, make sure not to smash it too much. The cookies, they are going to break. It's normal, but it's really important that you make sure not to do it more than you should. Mm. Mm. So, ready? We are going to put into the freezer. If you are not hurry about that, I really suggest that you make the recipe. You put one more layer of plastic sheet on top of it, and you put into the freezer for like overnight, for 12 hours, because in the next day after 12 hours it is going to be easier for you to cut and finalize, because like I said, it shrinks a little bit, so it's easy when it's all set to cut and not to stick into your hands. Okay, because if we leave a few more minutes in the heat, it is going to get more hard, but it's not nice when you eat it. Once you eat it, you will have a better experience once it's soft. So the perfect for that is something between very soft and sticky batter and very hard and sticking into your tooth batter. So it's something between that. You need to find a good stage between that. So I'm going to place in the freezer. And I have a ready one here, but I'm going to start, since it's room temperature, and now it's around 28 or 29. Maybe it is going to stick because I made a few hours ago. If it starts to stick, I'm going to put in the fridge a little bit, but if not, it's okay. I just want to show you how I'm going to finalize it, okay? I'm going to wash my hand one more time. Do we have any questions, Pedro?
Yes.
Please.
Can I find condensed milk easy outside of Brazil?
Yes. I'm talking about the places that I've been outside of Brazil. I haven't been to many places, but all of them I could find in the supermarkets. Since I have many students from all over the world, a few recipes that I make, they take sweet condensed milk, and all of them they can find easily in the supermarket. Maybe not as much as in Brazil, but you can find easily, okay? The most traditional brand is Nestlé, but you can find different brands. So, for paglia italiana, you can use these to cut, and you can use a roller to mark it exactly the size that you want, but you can also use this small ring here, square shaped ring, to make sure to make all of them in the same size. I'm going to finalize this Italiana smaller. For me, this is the size that I really like, smaller, because this is a very sweet recipe. So this is the size that I like eating. But you can also make a little bit bigger, like this, but I really like smaller. So I'm going to use these to cut. I'm going to make this size here and here. To finalize, I'm going to use confectionery sugar. This one has starch, okay? And this is the best for me to use on the paglia italiana. This sugar and starch will make sure that the paglia italiana won't be sticking onto everything, and the shape is going to be more nice once we finalize with confectionery sugar. So I'm going to put on sugar, spread into all of the surface, but it's really nice that you heat a little bit like this to remove the excess of sugar. Do not put too much sugar, okay? This is already a sweet recipe, so for me, this is perfect. Can you see? Ta-da! I'm going to finalize one more. Guys, I really like this paglia italiana. It has this rustic shape, and once you put on the table, on an anniversary table or Christmas table, and you put all of them together, it looks really, really nice. So, about the duration of paglia italiana, it can stay 2 or 3 days in room temperature, 4 to 6 days in the fridge, and 3 months freezed. So I really like freezing those because they freeze very, very well. And once we freeze, it's like we stop the time, and it's almost like you had done in the same day. So I really suggest that you freeze them if you have a large amount to make. This is a recipe that I've been selling, Paglia Italiana, the classic one. I've been selling for years, and all of my customers, they really liked it. So I'm sure that yours are going to like the Christmas one. So I would like to say a few tips about how to work on Christmas and to work in a more organized way. Like I said, like I mentioned before, the Christmas has always been the best time of year to produce sweets and to sell a lot. But I have a lot of things to say about Christmas and how to organize. If I could, I would spend more than 1 week talking to you all about my experience. But since I don't have much time, I'm going to say a few things about that. First, the first tip of all is to reduce the number of options of sweets that you are going to offer. Because once you have a lot of options, like many options, and each options many flavors, you will end up with a large grocery list, with a large storage, and with a lot of preparations to make. And we have a few customers that they say, want 100 of sweets. 10 of them are going to be Paglias Italianas, but I want 3 of lemon, 3 of the Christmas flavor, and 4 of chocolate. I want 10 macarons, 2 vanilla, 2 berries, 2 pistachios. So once we have a lot of flavors, it's more difficult to deal with customers and deal with our own organization. So it's really nice to work with freezable sweets, with sweets that you can freeze. Like paglia italiana, like macarons, like cakes, all of them you can freeze. Some of them, they're ready products, but a few of them you can advance steps and freeze. So it's a lot easier to work like that. If you have a small space, if you work in a small space, or if your kitchen is really small, or you don't have a large freezer to use to store your products, I really suggest that you focus on sweets like paglia italiana, brownie, cupcakes, because we have less steps to make in one recipe, for example. So it's easy if you focus on these products, because it's a lot easier to organize the production. About decorations and packagings and something and these kinds of things, a lot of people say that I don't really have money to invest in packaged and wrapping things for Christmas, and I'm really afraid that once I don't sell all of them, they are going to be in my house until the next Christmas. I really suggest that you don't invest in boxes with Santa Claus shape or something like that, or a Christmas tree shape. You don't need to use a box full of Christmas gifts. You can buy a box, a white one, a plain one, and that you can use all year long, and put ribbons like green and red and Christmas colors. But if you don't sell all of them during Christmas, you can sell in any time of year. Also, something that in all my life, something that helped me in all of my life, in all of my pastry journey, was to be very minimalist. I really don't put effort to make different things and a lot of decorations in one single product. I really prefer details. For me, less is more, and the most beautiful things are the most simple ones, and I really like them. So if you don't put decorations on top of decorations on top of decorations and color, when you do that, you end up with a very visual pollution. Can I say that? Everything messy, even if it's beautiful, but it's too messy because there's a lot of details, there's a lot of information. So I really suggest that you go to the simple. The simple is best. Um, another thing that is going to help you is to work with defined price table. For example, the price of this pasta italiana is this. If you order with me 100 of them, the price is going to be that price. Do not go to the dealing with the customer without knowing exactly how much you can charge for of all kinds of services that he can ask you, for example. Because sometimes the customer knows a lot how to deal and he might ask you the price and lower the price. Is really important to have everything defined previously. For example, in my case, I am that kind of person that when people come to me and say, Natalia, can you give me a discount for that reason, for that reason, for that reason? I was like, okay. And it's not nice. It's really better when you say, I have this price if you order me 100. But even if that person insists a little bit more, you can say, this is the price fair with the of the fair with the kind of quality that I offer. I can't get any lower than that, and this is my price, and that's it. So, to work with limited orders is really, really important, because if you live in a small place or if you are starting right now, it is totally nice to say, I'm going to make only 8 cakes in Christmas Eve, and that's all. And you're going to sell those 8. You don't need to make more than that. If it's going to be complicated for you to make more because of space, because of lack of experience, you can work with that amount and it's totally fine. The important is to make that number in the best way you can. It's not the amount, it's how you do, okay? And also make a real, how can I say that, because it's written in Portuguese, so I'm translating everything. Yes, is to be realistic in that number and say like, I'm going to accept orders until December 20th, and that's all, because you're going to have 4 days to organize yourself and to buy the ingredients, and that's all, and that's okay. Also put on, how can I say that? Meta, objetivo.
Goal.
Put a goal, and I want to sell 8 cakes. If you sell like 6, it's amazing. If you sell 8, it's perfect. So put a goal, set a goal, depending on how much time you're going to dedicate. I know this is not something easy to calculate, but I'm planning to do a content that a program that is going to help you calculate, okay, the working hours and how much you need to dedicate and those kind of things. The most important is that you make with your scenario possibility the best possible way. It's not about numbers, because in Christmas is an amazing opportunity not only to earn extra money but also to get amazing new customers, because people are looking for places to order desserts and it's an amazing opportunity to work. Okay, I really hope that you liked Paglia Italiana. Do you have something to say, Pedro?
Lean, lean, but just keep freeze is very important.
Freezing is very important, yes. So that's it. I really hope you like this Paglia Italiana, and I really hope you apply. This tip is really important to apply, okay? And let me know once you make it, please. I'm really happy when you guys make it at home, all the recipes that I'm sharing, and I'm going to eat one of those. Mm. Mm. Bye.